guys, we are live. Um, do you have an inner critic that comes at the most annoying times? Sometimes it's right after you do something cool, making you second guess yourself. Other times it's random and out of nowhere. And it's just this voice that kind of beats you up, full of negative thoughts. It's sort of like this, no matter what you do, it like speaks to you in this negative way that makes you doubt yourself or feel disempowered or feel like you're lacking or not good enough. It says things to you like you're not talented enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not good enough, or you're too old, or you're too young, or you're not ready, or you're bad at this, or you're never going to figure it out. um, this voice that's in your head is so common, super, super, super common. And today I want to give you a cheat code on how to um, defeat that voice, how to get rid of it, how to start to change how you're thinking so that you can operate your life in a way that feels good to you and where your mind isn't beating you up for the things that you want to do, because you have goals and dreams that you want to move towards, and happiness that you want to achieve, happiness you want to carry with you, happiness you want to find in your everyday life. You just want to enjoy life. And sometimes that voice gets in our way of doing that. And so I work with a lot of people who have a, a harsh, rigid, persistent inner critic. And I give them a cheat code. The people who I coach, I give them a cheat code that seems to really help, and I want to share it with you today so that you can start incorporating it into your life. Um, Now, long term, uh, as we change our thoughts and our perspectives and the way that we're looking at life, that we're looking at the world, um, we can, that voice will naturally just dissipate. It'll fade, 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 and dissipate. But this specific cheat code is for people who uh, want to start that process and want something concrete to start that process that you can do starting today. So, today I'm going to give you the cheat code for how to defeat your inner critic. And it's this: the best way to defeat your inner critic is to introduce an inner advocate to counter it. So think of it like you're introducing a positive voice that is supportive and encouraging and uplifting. And you're going to the timing of this is important. You're going to bring this positive voice out whenever the inner critic pops up. In the moment that the inner critic pops up with a, a judgy comment about yourself, when because here's how I kind of look at it, and this is a good way to sort of understand it, which is, if you have an inner critic, which is, by the way, again, super common. I think we all have a voice in our head that can sometimes like tear us down or make us question or second guess ourselves. Uh, if we allow the inner critic to be the only voice in our head, then what choice do we have but to listen to it? We almost have to, because it's the only one there. So if we let the inner critic have the full stage in our mind, then it's almost like we can't help but be beaten up by it. However, if an inner voice comes in and says, "We're not good enough, you're not good enough," and you immediately introduce a counter voice, a positive voice, a supportive voice, an encouraging voice that gives you some piece of positive feedback or positive reply, then no, you're taking this inner critic and you now have like a counter. So it's more balanced. It's not the only voice in your head anymore. It's now there's this positive counterbalance to it. And therefore it dilutes it. It dilutes and it weakens and softens the inner voice in our head. And enough time doing that can slowly allow the inner critic to kind of, this is the inner critic finger, this is the inner advocate finger. If the inner critic is alone, it does its thing and beats us up. But if we introduce an inner advocate, then the inner critic slowly starts, the power of the inner critic slowly starts fading away and away and away. And at some point, it dissipates. So I just want to quickly give some examples, and then I want to open the room up. Um, Actually, before I give the examples, let me do that. I'm going to invite in the chat. I'm going to post the link for anyone who wants to join. It's now in the chat. I have someone here that's going to jump on in just a second with me, but let me give you the examples that I have. So when your inner critic says something like, "You always mess things up," you might have the inner advocate come in and say, "No, I'm actually good at certain things." That's enough of a counter. That's actually you see how you're kind of kneecapping the inner critic's like message with that one follow-up line. Or when the inner critic says, "I should be further along by now," your inner advocate might say, "This isn't a race. I can go at my own pace." You see how that sort of like counters the negative comment that your inner critic made in your head? Um, Anything positive to counter it works. It can be specifically related, like as a counter to the specific thing that the inner critic just said, or it can be completely unrelated, very general positive information that's just helpful. Um, uh, so another example, so what you could do is uh, a framing could be like trying to add a positive but to it, like a like adding a positive but to it. I'll say positive but to it. So for example, if the inner critic says, "I'm not ready for the next step or for, moving towards this goal or dream, I'm not ready," you might have the inner critic or the inner advocate come in and say, "But I don't need to be ready. I can figure things out as I go." It sort of just completely deflates the power that the inner critic has. And so this is a great way to start practicing the deflation of your inner critic. And the more you do this, the more, again, the inner critic just softens and softens and sort of fades into the background. And at a certain point, it becomes second nature just to talk positively to yourself and to talk encouragingly to yourself. It's really helped me. It's really helped the people that I coach who have that intense, harsh inner critic. So feel free to use that. Feel free to take that, adopt it if it makes sense to you, if it feels good to you, if it resonates with you. Negative thinking and negative perspectives and negative thoughts are a big part of life, a common issue to have to deal with. And this is one cheat code that you can use to help flip the switch and start to talk more positively to yourself. And it starts with that. So I think it helps because we have this like personification, this character of the inner critic. We've heard of that before. And so it's kind of cool to have another character, and sort of easy for us to step in and personify a different character that can be positive and counter that. And just know, like, the inner critic is not you. That's just negative thoughts. We're just putting a little face and a name to it and a title to those negative thoughts. Oh, that's my inner critic. The inner advocate, that's the real you. When you talk supportively about yourself and you talk encouragingly to yourself, that's you talking to you. That's you being reminding of, like, allowing your real voice, your heart's voice, your soul's voice to step in and be present in those moments. And again, what you're aiming for is just don't let the inner critic have the full floor by himself or herself. Introduce a counter voice that allows a balance. So it might not make it disappear right away. It's still present in the space with the positive inner advocate. But over time, because you've now introduced a balance to it, it can allow room for the inner critic to start moving out. Okay, that is the cheat code for today. I want to bring in someone here who's my friend and someone I coach too, Alina. Here we are. Alina, welcome to the stream.
Hi, Chris. Long time no talk.
What has it been?
Right.
4 hours?
I think so. I've missed you quite a bit.
Me
Um,
too. Me too.
no, but I mean it. I sounded cheesy, but I do mean it.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh my God. I loved our session today. I really love talking to you. I feel like you're such a like you just have this intention of like wanting to shift. You want to change your life and you know that it's about like our mind and our emotions and like how to figure that stuff out. So I love people who are curious and interested and like just are that's to me that tells me like that person's ready. That even if like people are struggling or like dealing with stuff or kind of stuck in the muck, like you're someone who's the perfect kind of person that I see like being able to make the leaps of progress that you're looking for because you have the curiosity, the interest, the open mindedness. So I really love talking to you. And I hope, and by the way, anyone else who might be tuning in, feel free to comment in the chat if you have any questions or comments or just want to add on to what we're talking about here today. And if you want to jump on like Alina, I have the link in the comment section that you can use to jump on video or just audio like Alina's doing. That's totally fine. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Alina, what is on your mind tonight? What's going on?
What is on my mind tonight is about decision making, actually. I
Mm,
have a feeling I'll know a little bit of how you'll answer, but again, I love to hear it, over and over
yeah.
again until it really
Yes.
clicks. I'm a stubborn gal, I will say. So I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if I hear something enough times, I know I'm gonna find a way to start really applying it, more and
Yes.
more in my life. And so the question, to be more specific, is like, how do you get better at narrowing down which decision to make in really any given area? Not anything too specific, I guess, but
Mm,
just like, okay, even going to a restaurant, right? Like, I get this thing where I look at all these restaurants and I'm like, oh, well, if I go there, then there's the view. And if I go here, then
mm,
there's this specific meal. And if I go here, it'll be easier to park there. And I just sometimes get stuck
mm,
in the decision making process. And
mm.
not to be that extreme, because it doesn't always happen this way, but sometimes I'm like, okay, this is too much to think about. Let's just stay home, or let's let's
Yeah.
do any of the things, right? But
Yeah.
I know that I'm really indecisive in certain small things, and those small things tend to take up much more time than I would like them, and not even time, just energy.
Yeah, totally. Okay, that's such a cool question because I think this is very common for a lot of us to deal with, especially people like me who used to have anxiety. It's overthinking. Like you feel that like there's an overthinking quality to this question.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Yes.
so aware. Yes, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I'm not even close to my mic. I hope my audio is okay.
Oh, I
Okay.
can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Good. 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 Yeah. I feel like the best way to do it is the idea of making decisions just in general. The way I like to do it is taking yourself sort of out of your head and bringing more into like the emotional piece of your senses. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like allowing your the feeling to override. So yes, there might be better parking or easier parking at one place, and yes, there might be a better view at another place. But like at the end of the day, what are you feeling into? And allowing the feeling to sort of override everything else in terms of like, and when I say that, I mean like the good feeling. If you're like, ooh, I really would love this, sounds really good to me. Because the other thing about like the food example is sometimes, and I've had doctors tell me this too, where like you sometimes crave certain things because you're in need of something. Like I had a doctor
Mhm.
that told me like if you're low in iron or something, you might crave a burger, a red meat burger or something
Makes
because
sense.
your body just like and so you have this intuitive pull of like, ooh, I'm really craving this one kind of food and you don't even have to know why. I think that's kind of the beauty of us. We kind of just have this intuitive knowing and our body kind of knows, but when we start to go, but there's better parking at this other place, we kind of get in the way of our own intuition letting us guide us. So I think it's about learning to listen to yourself, your body, your heart, and then like letting that be the primary like driver of the decision that you make. and just
Yeah.
trusting it. And then doing it enough and seeing the results, you'll see like, oh, this works. It works way better for me to keep doing this versus like to give myself 10, 20 options and then struggle to figure anything out and then end up just staying home and not
Yeah,
having as good a
yeah.
time.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm definitely working on it, and I think that, I've done a good job of it for actually for tomorrow. I really felt
Mm,
what is it that I want to do? My friend asked me to do something, and I realized, okay, that's I try to feel it. Like really, like how would I
mhm,
feel doing this on a Friday night after working and trying to get to a personal appointment? Would that certain experience be something that would bring me joy or
mm,
stress? And I checked in with myself and I was like, yeah, trying to drive into the city and rush hour traffic on a Friday afternoon would not cause like the effect in
mm,
my body that I'd like to experience. And
mm.
so I said, would you mind staying local ish tomorrow, and then like maybe Sunday we could go into the city. And so I think I've done a good job of it right now, and that's great, but I don't think I always do that. And
Mhm.
sometimes when I do make a decision and I end up going to a place on my way there, I'm like, was this the right decision? And I just think about it
Sure.
the whole time.
Sure. I think we all do that. But here's this brings up an interesting point actually, which is something that I didn't pick up till actually just recently, which is the concept of like, okay, we just talked about tuning into our bodies and like listening to the feeling, and that's true. However, like timing also matters too because sometimes you don't know how you're going to feel at a later date. So trying to gauge how what you're going to actually feel like in the moment, like who knows what tomorrow's going to bring. Maybe like come tomorrow you're going to be like so into the idea of it doesn't even matter what traffic's like, you just want to go out to that place or whatever. Like,
That's so funny.
do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, does that make sense? So
Yeah. Well, and this is why, I will say I have a hard time with things like this. Like somebody will ask me about committing to something 2 or 3 months in advance. And I've
mm,
used to commit. I think I used to be more in my people pleasing era. And
mhm,
now I'm like, that's too far away for me to tell you, unless it's
mhm.
like really something that I'm
Yeah,
dying
if
to
it's
do.
a wedding or something, I get that. If it's certain things, yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
with you, like just waiting kind of till more in the moment, like living more in the moment, I think is very helpful. At least it has been for me. For things that don't mean much or that aren't that important.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I am proud of myself in that sense. I think that, maybe me saying, "Hey, I can't give you an answer right now. Let's check back later." Maybe the other person is not really too happy about that. But the thing is I'm
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
about that. And I think that
right.
that's that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, in the sense of like listening to yourself and allowing that to, I think, look, the way what I started doing was when I adopted this new approach to life where I was like, I'm going to make decisions based on how I'm feeling and truly as a former people pleaser too. I would say yes to a lot of things, and truly, I think that was one of the biggest factors that led to me having anxiety. Was
Mhm.
I was saying yes to things that I did not want to do, things that I was uncomfortable doing, things that I just wasn't into for whatever reason. I wasn't into being social that night, but I still went to the party. I wasn't into, doing whatever it was, an improv show. I was not in the right headspace, but I forced myself to do it anyway. It was like, these are things that I think it felt it, you know what it ended up feeling on the back end on my in my mind or in my brain? It kind of felt like I'm trapped and I'm forced to do all these things that I don't actually want to do and I don't have real control over my life. And that's sort of what like the story in the back of my head was playing, like every time I said yes to something that I didn't want to do or when I said no to things that I actually did want to do, it was just providing me this like mental space that was like, oh, you don't live the life that you want to and you can't and there's no way to do it, and you're and the anxiety and the stress of all that would pile up, and I would factor it into, I would assume it was other things. Oh, it's because of work, or it's because of, someone doesn't, I don't know, maybe I have this problem with this friend or whatever. But really it was just me not listening to my body and not listening to my how I felt about things. But
Mhm.
when I started doing it, when I started adopting this approach of, no, I'm going to say yes to the things that I want to do with an enthusiastic yes. Yes, I will go there. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I will. If I truly feel it, I'm in. Like we're going. Let's do it. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to do that. And I will say no to when I don't want to do things, and I will be okay with that. And I'll understand, like, if someone has a hard time with that answer, look, then they have a hard time with that answer, and I'm going to have to like understand and let that go. But I will say, as I started doing that, I started realizing that I was then giving other people so much freedom too, because I was like, like I only want to do things when I truly want to do them, when my heart's on board. But that way, then ever since then, when I would introduce something to someone, hey, do you want to go to this place? Do you want to go to this restaurant? Do you want to hang out tonight or whatever? And they would say no. I would then be like so cool with that. I'd be like, "Oh my god, please follow your heart. If you don't want to hang out tonight, well then you shouldn't. I don't want you to unless you actually want to." So
Yeah.
I found myself giving all this freedom to my friends, and then they started feeling the freedom that I was giving them. "Oh my god, you're not upset about that I canceled plans, or that I'm not going to that game night, or I'm not doing that thing." And because my energy was so compassionate and so understanding with them, they tended to be reciprocate that. So when I had a day where I wasn't feeling it, they didn't come at me with being upset at me or angry at me or whatever. They gave me the same reciprocal like love that I showed them. So I think works. You can form like relationships and friendships in really cool ways where you own your vibes and your freedom and your ability to make these choices, but then you're giving it to other people. They feel it, and then they give you the same back.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
love that answer.
Cool. And then, hi, Yoni. You're welcome to the chat. Thanks for being here. We're talking about inner critic today, and we're kind of just talking about anything that's on our minds. But Alina, actually curious, do you have any thoughts on inner critic? Like, do you have that voice that comes in your head, and how do you sort of deal with that, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I would say that I get imposter syndrome sometimes, and I think I kind of tend to be, what is that thing? Like the seesaw on the playground, right? Like sometimes I can be so certain of myself and feel so good, and then like the next day comes and I'm starting to feel doubtful, and
Mm,
I'm really working on having like more of an even keel, I would say.
hmm.
And I just try to remind myself of like the things that you and I have talked about, which is like
Hmm.
go easy on yourself instead of shaming that voice. Like it's trying to protect me
Mm,
ultimately. It
mm,
wants me to hear something. It wants to be heard, right? Like it
hmm.
doesn't want me to ignore it. So I think just
Right.
saying like, "Hey, I hear you. I hear what you're
Mm,
saying. I know you want to protect me by saying to me that, maybe I'm not good enough to do this, and thank you,
mm.
but I'm good," right? Like I'm
Yeah, that's such a
practicing.
great way to, yes, yeah, totally. That's such a good reminder. It's like those negative voice, it is in a way trying to protect us. It thinks it is. That's what it thinks it's doing.
Yeah.
And like kind of approaching it that way, which is basically with love and compassion and kindness, is the perfect way to like say, I love you, but but no, I'm still believing in myself. I'm still doing what I'd like to do. Like ideally that's what we do. And we sort of like allow ourselves to, yeah, take the information and just basically use it as that. It's just information. I kind of think of it as like, a blinking check engine light on the car. Basically, it's like if the check engine light is going, don't ignore it. Like it's trying to tell you something, and if you can look at it in a way of like, well, what is it actually saying, and where is it coming from? That's the other thing. Like you'll notice our critical voice comes from our places of insecurity, headspaces of
Mhm.
insecurity, headspaces of fear, headspaces of hopelessness or uncertainty with ourselves. Like these negative headspaces produce the thoughts that make up this inner critic. And when you kind of know, oh, this is the voice or the thought of a negative headspace, then you
Mhm.
understand, oh, well, then I don't have to give it that much credit, because it's kind of thinking in a flawed kind of way, because we know negative headspaces are full of warped logic and negative thinking and things that don't quite make sense and information that isn't really real sometimes and assumptions that aren't actually true, but we're just operating as though they're true. And so like considering the source, I guess, is really good to helpful for me to like know what thoughts of mine I can believe and trust and go with, and what thoughts I kind of want to just gently, like you said, acknowledge, appreciate that they're popping up, that they think they're protecting us, and then setting aside no and moving in a different direction, knowing that we know the part of us that's connected and aligned with our heart knows better.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, another thing that I've been working on is like, okay, I'm having the thought, it happened, it didn't make me feel good, but can I still show up, despite what is happening, right? Like, can I
Mm,
calm it down somehow? Hear it, but then still go to the event, go to, I don't know, the grocery store. Can I have these insecurities that are coming up and still remind myself, hey, I belong because I'm here. So
mm,
so it's like that means that I belong because I exist, right? Wasn't
mhm.
that you who told me that too? Like
Yeah, the
because
whole
I
worthiness piece.
exist,
Yeah, yeah,
that means I already belong. And
totally.
so, yeah, just kind of like telling myself that because I think like post COVID, like the grocery store even got weird after like a certain amount of time. It's like
Oh,
I
I know.
didn't
I
go, I started
Yep.
working remotely, and then I was like, why do I feel so weird going to the grocery store? Because I was like ordering groceries online, and then when it was like time to like start going to the grocery store again, I was like, this feels like
I
I
know.
feel awkward doing
Same
it
boat.
almost.
Same boat. Same boat. Like I don't remember how long it was, probably over a year. I don't know, probably maybe more, that I
Yeah.
did not even go into stores
Yep.
very, very long time. It felt
Oh my
very
gosh.
weird.
Wait, thank you for sharing that because I felt like I was so like I was such an outlier because I felt like a lot of my friends seemed, not that I ever had like a whole bunch of friends. I always had a small circle, but they were like going into the store and I was like, "Why
Like
is
it
there
doesn't
block?"
matter, right?
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, but I'm not and I'm very aware that they are and I'm not." And I really beat myself up over it for a while, and then I just started to, like, really just be like, "Okay, you know what? It's happening. Let's accept that it's happening." But then also, like, I used to go to the grocery store all the time. So if I used to do it, then I could do it again. Like, it's gonna
Totally.
be
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. And you eventually found your way to normalizing that, right?
Yes, and what I do now is also I like do a mix of things. I already prepaid a while ago for a year's membership of Instacart because I
Hmm,
think I told you I don't know if I told you I sprained my ankle like to the point that I couldn't walk on it
that's
for
right.
like
Yeah.
a very long time. And so that really came in handy during that time. And now I've just been doing a mix of things. I'm like, okay, I could go to this grocery store for these products, and then if I really need to order something online, since I've already prepaid for this, like I can allow myself that because like
Hmm,
ultimately, I'm financially responsible for myself too. So like well not too, but like completely I am financially responsible for
hmm.
myself right now. And so I've just been looking at it differently instead of being like, oh my gosh, why am I not going to the grocery store? When I don't, I'm like, okay, this is something that I'm doing to ease my life because I'm already
Yeah.
focusing on, like I'm the breadwinner right now and I'm the housekeeper and I'm the chef,
You're
like
everything. Yeah. You
right,
take
yeah,
on all
like
the
I'm
roles. Yeah.
I'm all the things
Sure.
right now. So it's like if there is a day where I feel like I need to ease what feels like a lot, then I'm going to do it without like shaming myself. And yeah, and I think that that's like a good balance that like now I still do go to the grocery store like once a week for some ingredients and then like the other stuff I know okay, I can order if I need to.
I love that you're making it work. Like that's really really cool. Yoni's referring to inner critic says, "I hear it," meaning the inner critic. "I don't dismiss it, although when I hear it, I also know it will pass. The less I act on it with purpose, thought, and action, it gets quieter and less frequent." Yeah, totally. When we focus less on anything, that's like a an element of focus too. Like you put your focus on anything, whether it's a negative thought or a positive thought, whether it's a negative thing or a positive thing, makes it by definition more prominent in our life, in our experience. Like we then, if you focus on whatever, in this case, a negative thought, then that negative thought is part of your day more and more. And the more minutes you focus on it, the more present it is by definition, literally in your life. So the less you do that, then it allows it to fade away and get quieter and quieter and less frequent and less frequent. So I love that. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing,
me
Yoni.
too.
Yeah, cool. Anything else on your guys' mind today, whether it's related to inner critics or anything else that's kind of present? Anything, the way I kind of see it is like we're all on our own little journeys here, moving towards our goals and dreams. And this is a cool space to like get together and then talk about anything that might be tripping us up, to like how can we like smooth a little thing, something out, in our journey.
Ooh, I mean, if no one else has one, I totally have one. We might have touched base on this actually earlier as well. But if there's new perspectives, I'm also happy to hear them. It's about perfectionism.
Mm,
How I know I have it. I know I have it. I know I have
mm-hmm,
it with my own self, like appearance wise, the way I speak.
mm,
I really am super vigilant about how I'm presenting, and sometimes I think that it's a disservice to me.
mm,
And especially with my space, like sometimes I can be like organizing, decorating, and it's all going really well. And I'm like, I'm so happy. Everything looks so great. And then one thing goes wrong. Like for example, oh my gosh, I got these under the sink like storage organizers a long, long time ago, and I didn't put them together until earlier this week. I was like, let me just get them out of storage and let me put them together. I put together
mm.
one of them. It all looked great. And I was like, yes, I'm so happy. Like I got this like amazing dopamine hit from like doing that. And I put all the items in it and I was like, perfect. I'm going to go put together the other one right now. And they're going to
Mm.
look perfect side by side. And all of my things are going to be neatly lined up. Long story short, the second box was missing all the hardware. And I was just like,
Oh,
ah, like
oh no.
so sad because then and it's like again, it's minor. I understand this is like a
Right.
very minor thing, but I was like so stressed about it because I was like, now I have to put everything back under the
Mm,
sink without the second basket. And it's like it's not the perfection that I had intended it to be in my mind, you know?
yeah. That's so interesting. And I have a comment about this, but Yoni mentions, here's one: loving your voice and hearing your perspective. And I don't know if you're referring to me or to Alina or to yourself, but can you clarify that, Yoni? I'm curious. As for your perfectionism, Alina, as I'm also a perfectionist, I'm working on it. I'm trying to be less so because it really keeps me from doing certain things because I put things off until they're perfect. I put
Yeah.
them. I
Mhm.
I I've not made, like, I do these live streams which are very, like, I guess, helping me sort of break this cycle that I have about this. But I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to the content that I put out, that I've only put out like 2 YouTube videos, and that was it. And I was like, I, I
Mm,
I'm trying to do another one, but it has to be perfect in my mind, or I
yeah.
don't want to release it because I want to make sure it gives off the information that I
Yeah.
want to put out there. I want to make sure it sounds good. There's a lot of that kind of like element to my life, and it just gets in the way. But I will say something that, based on what you just said, where sometimes when we're really stressed and we're really like, there's a lot on our plate, where we're worrying about this and worrying about this, nervous about that, things kind of tend to pile up. And when we're in negative headspaces for long periods of time or like large chunks of our day, then even the small things can stress us
Mhm.
out. Like the little, it's because it's not about the hardware not being in this little like box that you're putting together. It's all the other shit that you're dealing with and constantly swirling in your mind. And this was almost like the last straw. It was like, oh, you
You're
have
so
that moment.
right.
You
Well,
know what
you're
I
so
mean?
right because okay, maybe I had too much pressure on the activity then because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this activity right now because I know it's gonna like help me relax and like, which I guess maybe it doesn't even sound like it was all that relaxing at the end.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
But
No.
like, but like the intention was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing because it's gonna help me feel well, probably if I really get a super authentic, I felt like it was gonna help me get more control. And
Ah,
and I think
sure.
more control also helps me feel relaxed. And that might be a totally flawed thought process. I can kind of
No,
understand
no, it
that
kind of makes
too.
sense. If you're not feeling in control of a lot of elements of your life, then trying to use a small thing like that to get that control and therefore find that comfort, I can totally see that. However, I will say, like, I think what we talked about in our coaching call earlier today is sort of the idea of allowing the control element, although I don't love that word, but control, meaning
Mhm.
the sway, or like I have sway, I have influence over your thoughts, is the biggest thing, because once you know you can sway your thoughts when you need to, when you want to, everything else can smooth out. Everything else can smooth out. And once you start doing that, then these little things don't, like, basically what happens is if you get too stressed out about like work stuff and home stuff and whatever the little issues that kind of add up in your day, then it's almost like, imagine your bandwidth is just like nothing. It's like this. But when
Yeah.
you introduce like into your life like more freedom, more relaxation, more doing nothing time, more going on walks, more doing what taking breaks, more giving yourself time to do what you enjoy, more friend time. The more you do those things, your bandwidth just starts to grow and grow and grow. And then a little thing like hardware, not having it in the moment and like scrapping that activity, it's just sort of like a shrug now, because it's like you have all the space, the mental emotional space to kind of deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do because I mean, if I'm really being super honest, what went on in my head after that happened was like, and maybe earlier when I used the word control, going back to that, maybe I don't mean control. Maybe I mean
Mm,
flow. Maybe the intention was to be in the flow state, and when things are organized, I feel more in flow than when
mm,
they're just like chaotically laying there and I have to dig for whatever I need, right? Okay, they're not
yeah, yeah,
chaotically laying there, but when they're just there all over the place
yeah.
and I need to dig for things, like I feel stressed. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing to create more flow. And yes, some
Hmm.
control is definitely involved, but I was really aiming for flow. And when that
Hmm.
didn't happen in the way that I wanted it to happen, you're probably right that it's about other things in some shape or form because I was like,
Hmm.
my first thought was like, "Oh, come on. Why can't things just be like easier? Like why
Right.
this one like this stupid thing?" I just thought to myself, "This stupid thing could be like so much easier." Like and I just
Mm,
was so worked up over it. And
mm,
I was like, "Why can't I just have more ease?" Right? So it really wasn't about that. It was that
right.
this thing represented to me that I wasn't feeling enough ease.
Ooh, I love that insight. I love that insight. And something, this is a real subtle kind of thing that I'm about to suggest to you. By the way, wait, let me I'm trying to juggle you and Yoni because I want to have everyone's voice in the show. But Yoni says she was referring to my voice. Oh, thank you, Yoni. I appreciate that. That's very nice. And then Yoni says, if we are emotionally attached to an outcome, we are more often disappointed or stifled from taking action on the first place. Emotional attachment to an outcome is what causes us to want to control. Yeah, when
I
we have
see
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, you see that too, Alina?
Yes, I thank you, Yoni. And I'm saying hi, Yoni, but like I don't see you and that's okay, but I just want to say hi.
She's just in the
In
comments.
the chat.
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she's in the chat. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I do see there popping up. Okay, got it.
Okay, so yeah, totally. And we've talked about like not putting too much. I think I did the episode I did a few weeks ago on letting go. We talked a lot about like not being too emotionally attached to certain outcomes or certain things having to go the way we want, in order, because that makes us so rigid, and like then anything kind of like knocks us off out of our flow state. But I also want to say something. Oh, the advanced thing that I was going to say. This is subtle, Alina, but like, see if you could think about this in the future. It's like you're spot on, and I love the insight that you had about this, like wanting to have this sense of flow. But I'm curious, like, can you pinpoint the reason you wanted to do the thing or the reason you wanted to get into flow? Because if the reason is, I don't feel like I'm in flow and I'm going to do this thing to get in flow, that's very different than I just want to do this thing because it feels good. And therefore, that is flow. I don't know if that makes sense or resonates. Does it
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah.
It's so subtle though, and it took me a long time to really like get that subtlety. But sometimes when we do things or act out of a place of lack or a place of I don't have something now, but I'm going to do this thing, take this action in order to get that thing. Like sometimes it can work, but oftentimes it just continues to be troublesome for us versus where I'm just going to relax and do what I enjoy. And maybe that's, fixing or putting the shelf together. And maybe it's just, enjoying some TV time or some comedy time or some, outdoor walk time or whatever it is. And then as part of that, what I find doing is I lean into like, what sounds fun right now? What, not what will get me in flow, what sounds fun in this moment. And then you do that. And that just locks you into flow automatically. And then suddenly I'm, doing laundry and not even noticing that I'm really getting the dishes done and laundry done and cleaning my apartment while I like listen to things, I get lost in the flow and just see all these cool results coming out of it because I didn't try to access flow. I just tried to do what I felt was like, what will be interesting for me right now? What sounds fun to me in this moment? And just kind of leaning on that, even if it sounds stupid or ridiculous or pointless or a waste of time or whatever, it really isn't, you know?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, cool. How do you feel like you are in terms of like, I don't know, getting the flow state that you kind of want?
I could be better. I could
Yeah, sure,
definitely
sure.
be better at it.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about that earlier today of like things that we can all do that can help us live in flow or like get into good headspaces, which is accesses flow. That's the same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a practice. It's a daily practice. Truly is a daily practice. But I think it becomes second nature the more we do it, the more we
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Um, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Any other topics on your mind or anything popping up for you?
Maybe Yoni has something.
Yeah, if you do, Yoni, please let us know in the chat. Um, but I don't know how long these are going to be now because I'm doing this kind of just with you guys. I'm kind of just doing it solo because I don't have a co-host. So I'm kind of the time of it. We used to go an hour, but now I'm very much like if it's a half hour, it's a half hour. It'll be as long as the conversation allows for it. You know what I mean? Just kind of going with the flow, if you will, Alina.
Yeah.
Um,
Good
so
one.
yeah, I mean, that's truly how I live now. It's like
Yeah.
and this is
For
part
sure.
of like me not being a perfectionist too, because it's like I'm not gonna hold myself to saying I'm doing an hour show, an hour live stream every week. I'm truly gonna be like whatever the room calls for, and if it calls for something that's 30 minutes, we'll do 30 minutes. If it calls for 45 minutes, we'll do 45. If it calls for an hour and 15, we'll do that. But it really is gonna depend on like the moment in the moment, like getting the feel for what like what makes sense, you know?
Ooh, I do have one,
Oh, tell me,
actually.
tell me, tell me.
So, what is your best tip on navigating difficult people? I don't have a specific example because, everything is subjective, right? Like who someone sees as difficult, someone else could see as the most easygoing person. Um,
Yeah.
but like whoever you deem as a difficult individual, do you have any tips on how to best engage with them?
Ooh, in this scenario, do we have to engage with them?
I mean, listen, we don't have to do anything, right? like,
Good answer. Good
like
answer. Okay, great.
yeah, so let's just say that we have made a choice to
Okay.
engage with them for the time being because
Okay.
that choice brings something to our life for now.
Okay, so we're seeing the positive of having that person in our life in some way, but there's some like things about their personality or things about how they think or how they talk that can sometimes bump us and like
Well,
make it
okay,
difficult?
maybe I should get more specific.
Please.
Basically, like
Okay, sure.
people at work, right? Like I noticed that our personalities are really different, and like I feel like I don't have a dry personality, but I have a really hard time working with people who have a dry personality. I'm like, what a boring
Mm,
time. like what
mm,
the heck? You know?
okay. So here's what I would say about this, and it's going to be a little, you might not expect it, but sometimes when like your reaction to that other person being boring or labeling them as boring or like what's the word, it's almost a little critical or a little
It
judgy,
is. Yes. Thank
and
you for pointing that out.
that typically means that you are also super judgy of yourself, because
Yeah.
people who judge other people tend to judge them. It's almost like you just wear, I wish, well, it's almost like you wear judgy glasses and then you like talk to other people, you kind of see other people that way, but you also, you're, when you look down at yourself, you also are using the same glasses. Do you know what I mean? So like you're
Yeah.
also doing it to
Yep.
yourself.
Yep. Yep. Well, I guess maybe if I could add something to the question, like I have a okay, because I think I mentioned a little bit about this. I think that work, maybe it's the type of work that I'm doing. It's just one small pillar in my life. And I feel
Mm,
like I work with a lot of people who present in a way where they think that work is like the most important
mm.
thing that could be happening in someone's life. And like watching that makes me like, I'm like, that's kind of gross.
I, I I I get, okay. Let's play with that for a minute. Actually, let me bring Yoni's comment on this for a minute because she responded to this. I look at difficult people and search for something about them that I see me in. I
Okay.
focus on that with love, acceptance, and compassion. I find that energy I sit in disarms them. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Um, yeah, there's something about like the idea of seeing like what I kind of like to do is I understand, and I guess I'm trying to practice this more and more every day, that everybody has their own likes, dislikes, preferences, goals, dreams, beliefs, negative limiting beliefs in themselves. They have their own personalities. They have their own like things that get in their own way and things that they're good at, things that they're not good at. And so they're obviously going to be different than me and what I'm doing or what I like or care about or who I am.
Mhm,
And so I
mhm.
kind of see it as like we're all cool like superheroes in this game of like, I truly see life as sort of like a video game or like an open world game that we're all kind of playing for this moment while our conscious, consciousnesses are in this, are in our bodies. And so like I see, when I see other people, if they seem dry or whatever, my thought is, well, that's kind of a cool like they're not my character. I don't want them to be my character. I actually kind of like that I'm different in that way,
Yeah.
that I'm not like that. But someone who's like that is going to be specifically good at certain things or that I'm not going to be good at. You know what I mean? Like they're going to
Mm.
be like, they're going to have their own role to play in this game. And
Mhm.
now that doesn't mean that we have to be friends with everybody. That doesn't mean we have to like spend our time with every single person if we don't like their personality or we don't really like, if we don't really click with their personality. But kind of seeing everyone for the power that they have. Maybe they're dry and maybe they're quiet and maybe they're whatever, because they have severe doubts in themselves, that
Yeah,
they're really critical, they're really insecure, and so they're
sure.
not bubbly and open. You know what I mean?
And that they just express it differently, right?
And
Like
they
that.
express it differently, like they have different abilities. Like some people don't have a great like feel like they can't talk. Like I've met a lot of people who have commented on how they've complimented me on my communication skills, that I'm able to like express my thoughts in such a clear way or such a, like, I don't know, like an easy way, like it just sort of like naturally happens, but they find that really hard to do themselves. And so it's like certain, we have gifts. You have a gift for talking. You have a gift for having a bubbly personality. You have very good energy. So when you talk, whether it's like like to your friends or here on a show like this, like that energy translates, you know what I mean? But not everyone has that superpower. That's a superpower you have, but not everybody else does. So if you could start to see other people like, well, what's their superpower? Maybe they're not great at talking or communicating, but what are they good at? You might not see that in the moment, but they have them. That maybe they're really good at numbers, or maybe they're really good at writing, or maybe they're really
Sure.
good at whatever the work that they're doing is. Maybe that's why they love work so much, is because that's what they're good at, and they're not good at just like joking around and like
Yeah.
being, you know what I mean, extroverted.
Well, that's so funny because the more that we've kind of talked about this right now, I realize that the reason why I feel any type of way about it is because there's this sense of threat that I feel when I look at them and I see them actively overachieving and prioritizing work in a way that seems to be the most important pillar in their lives. It's almost
Mm.
like, do you remember being in school? And okay, sorry if you happen to be that person, but if you didn't do your homework, then there's that kid that's like, "I did my homework. Are you gonna collect it?" And I'm like, "Would you stop doing that?" Right? It's not like I'm not doing anything at work, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
doing stuff, but it's like I feel like then there's people that do even more stuff, and I'm like, "Stop it. Stop
You're
it."
making us all look bad by doing so
Exactly.
good. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, it's probably good that some people are doing that, and that actually takes a burden kind of off of me in some ways, because at least then more is being done, I guess, for that. But like another thing is like, I don't know what people's goals and dreams are, and maybe this is less about them doing their work the way they want to do, and maybe you finding something in your life that you can love so much that you'd want to do that much with it. Do you know what I mean? Potentially. Uh-oh, did I lose you, Lena?
Oh, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, 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 I'm here.
Yeah, so basically, I do love that, looking at it differently, that like perhaps they're not doing more to make me look bad,
That's
but
right.
perhaps they're doing more to take more off my plate in a sense. Like maybe I could kind of
That would be an amazing
reframe.
reframe if you could, if that's something that you can believe. Absolutely. That would be
I've
an
never
amazing way.
thought about it in that way. I've thought about it in the way that like, please stop asking the teacher to collect the homework, you know?
But yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If they are doing stuff that then allows you to do less, and you don't like the you don't care about that anyway, and actually that's kind of a benefit to you in some way, and by them doing taking on more, it actually requires less from you. That could be a win for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yoni says, Chris, you look great in those glasses. Oh my God. Okay. See, the reason I don't wear them is because you see, like you could see the ring light in my glasses when I wear them on the show. So I don't like looking like I have
I think it looks cool. It looks
cool
like
with
you
the
have, like,
green
these
with
little
the
green vortexes, like, in your eye. Like, it's just really funny. It reminds me of, like, like, if you watch, like, a hypnosis video, that's what it looks like. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's good. Yeah, if we do some subliminal stuff, which I don't do, but like that would be cool for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um Okay, cool. I'll consider this, especially when the time is right. If we want to do some kind of like meditation at some point, I will put these on to like meditate us with.
Love
Um
love it.
Cool. But yeah, I would just make that reframe of for yourself. I think that's beautiful. I think that's awesome. And then it allows you to then find that to me, I'm so excited for you, Alina, to find at some point something that you are so passionate about. And it doesn't even have to be work related, but it might become work related. Like so many things that are not work related become money making work
Yeah.
opportunities. And I
Mhm.
can't wait for you to find that thing that like draws you so much that you're like, I just want to spend my time doing this because I love doing this because it's fun to do. And I hope that you're well compensated when you find that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think I just realized also that I'm projecting. Like I think that we are all at work by like some kind of inconvenience, that we've all chosen
Hmm.
this job because of like an unfortunate event. Because
We have to. We
that's
all found ourselves here. We have to do this. None of us want to.
That's
Yeah,
what I think, but you know what? That's a projection of my
right.
reality onto my colleagues. Like, I haven't really stopped to think that
Mm.
there are people that could actually enjoy the work. So it's
Isn't
like,
that funny? Like, I'm snapping for you because that is such a good insight. That is so good. I love that so much. Like, take that.
yeah.
Yeah, let that sit for a little bit because it really kind of opens that what you literally just say. And this is another thing I need to appreciate about you, Alina, that I want to like acknowledge when you do it because I think it's so helpful to you. It's like you are, when you open your mind to like thinking differently and seeing these new perspectives, you're expanding how your mind is operating right now in this moment. You're
Yeah.
expanding how your mind is operating. And the more you go, like in the future days, if you continue to carry thoughts like this with you, you're going to be able to perceive everything a little bit differently and continue doing it more a little differently. And then when your mind starts to expand in that way and you start going through day to day like with this newer like more big picture kind of expanded mind, it's going to make connections that you're not currently making now. It's going to spot opportunities that you're currently not spotting right now. It's going to lead to cool things that you currently don't know exist, but do, that you're going to then be able to jump on that will change your life.
This is so fascinating, Chris, because I'm really having light bulb moments because I've also realized that I've been feeling bad for people that maybe don't need that because
That
I've
might be
watched
perfectly
them,
happy.
right? They might be perfectly happy, and I've watched them send so many emails and so many chats and so many work on so many projects, and I'm like, "Oh, this poor
This poor
person." Like, I
person.
feel so bad for them. And I'm like, "Look at them, like, overworking at this job that they hate." And then I'm like, "Wait a second. Now this conversation makes me realize maybe they don't hate the job. Maybe they like what they're doing. And
Right.
maybe I could find something that I also like what I'm doing instead of
Yeah.
like sitting there projecting onto everybody else about how much they
Yes.
also hate their job."
Yes. And watch how that one little perspective shift changes how you how you just operate with those coworkers and with that job and with yourself, even in just your own life, in work and outside of work. Like watch how that, because this is here's the thing. If that is true, then imagine what other things that could also apply to that have nothing to do with work or the office or whatever. You'll start noticing things of like, oh, well, now that I think that way about this thing, then it also makes me change how I think about this thing and this thing and this thing. And then suddenly you're now a different person because you're operating in this whole new way.
Yeah, I really love that. I really love that. I think that's a good idea because it's not possible that in my entire company is 45,000 people that every single one of those people hates what they're doing. That can't be a thing, right? Like that
Right.
can't. Yeah.
Right. It's unlikely. Let's put it that way. Yoni says, what does snapping mean, Chris, when someone makes a good point? Have you not heard that? It's like it's called like giving snap. I don't know if it's called giving snaps, but it's like you've heard this, Alina, right? Like snapping is like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's almost like a
Like a
silent clap.
support, like supporting, yeah.
Yeah,
The
totally.
message or the idea or whatever, the event.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish there was like an emoji for snapping because I would use it more often, but I can only use it in like physical life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, cool. Okay. Well, now we are at the top of the hour. I love where we got today. I love that you had some light bulb moments. Like that is like my dream. My favorite part about doing all of this, when I say all of this, I'm talking about my work, which is coaching and live streaming and all this, talking to people about life and emotions and the mind and all that. My favorite thing is when people get insightful, like aha moments. And I've heard from you at least two today, maybe even more. So I'm like,
Probably more, yeah, thanks to
yeah,
you. Because I think when you're in your head, it's yeah, sometimes I have aha moments all by myself, but
yeah, sure.
when you bounce ideas like off of, each other, you get a perspective that you might have not had before.
Totally. Absolutely. That's the kind of the beauty of like forums like this, like platforms like this, where we can get together and talk because sometimes it just takes someone to say something that we've never heard before to go, wait a minute. Oh, I guess I never thought about it like that. And
Yeah.
you said it yourself, like projection, like That we all do that. Like I have my own insecurities that I project onto situations too, where it causes me to just be blind to certain things that are not true, but I operate like they're true. So we all have, I love getting those light bulb moments myself too. It's really, really cool for sure.
I really
You
love
got, you or Alina or Yoni have any final things you want to talk about or final things you want to say before we wrap today?
just grateful for you and for this space and for
Mm.
Yoni and anybody else that's listening.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. I'm so appreciative of having a place where people care enough and are interested enough to talk about this with me because sometimes I've brought this, I have a lot of friends and some of them do resonate and I can talk to them about it, but I'm finding that, not everybody does. And so finding anybody who is interested in this, who watches, if you're watching this, even on replay, like I love you too. Like I appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate you for being interested in talking about life in this way because I think it helps all of us. That hey, oh wait, Yoni, you got Yoni did emoji snaps. Where is that on
Where
your phone?
is that? I think maybe, Chris, we haven't gotten the update. That seems like something
Damn.
we'd need an
Okay.
update for. I haven't seen that either. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Okay. I love how she's the only one who didn't know what snaps meant, but she has the emoji and none of us do. That's kind of ironic and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's like you only get one. You either understand it or you have the emoji. It's one or the other. Okay. Well, I guess that's where we'll wrap today. Thank you guys for being here. If you are watching currently, whether it's live or on replay, do me the favor of liking and subscribing if you want to see more content like this. I do live streams regularly. Hit the little bell thing and you'll get alerted to it. That would be really cool so you can keep up with all the videos we do in the future. And if you want to I should also let you know if you want to go to if you want to sign up for my free EQ newsletter, if you want to learn about your emotions, I have that on my website. It's totally free, chrisnewt.com. Just go and put in your email. You'll get 2 weeks of daily emails to help you understand your emotions better. That's what I teach. I'm really good at it. I'm getting better at it the more I do it. And it'll help you understand what your emotions are, what they mean, what they're telling you, what to do with them, and get clarity on what all this means so that your life can feel easier and happier and in flow and feel more connected to yourself and feel like you're actually making movement and progress toward your dreams. All of that is helped once you understand your emotions. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. Alina, you can speak for it. It's like it kind of unlocks some really cool things when you start to and it's very it's basic, but it's kind of game changing when you
Yeah.
kind of think about it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to get these new neural pathways or whatever, and just these
Yes.
looking at things is amazing because I think it would be pretty awful to think the same way throughout your whole life. I mean, unless you're just
That's
perfect at life
That's
and you
true. No one is. No one is.
exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, tune in. Yeah, sign up for my EQ newsletter. If you're interested in my coaching, you could also find that on my website. So, what I'm teaching in these live streams and what I'm teaching in this newsletter on these emails that you get is all the information you could ever need to change your life in any way that you want. And so do the self practice. It's totally a self practice. Use my free YouTube videos, use my free emails, use this free forum, this live stream, what we're talking about, and just sort of incorporate these things that we're talking about into your day. But if you're someone who does not do a self practice very well and you kind of want someone to help you on a more personal level, if you just want more guidance, if you just want company on your journey to finding more happiness and to finding the progress you want in your life, that's what my coaching is for. I have some programs that I'm very excited for. I'm beta testing them now, and I'm seeing, so everyone who's going through the program is seeing some cool result, and I can't wait to share them because that's going to be coming in the next few weeks. I'm going to share some of the results people are getting, but let's just say it's been so exciting to watch people have these breakthrough moments and to find what they're looking for. So if you want that kind of level of guidance, check out the coaching on my website. You could sign up right then and there. Thank you guys so much. With that, I will close this week. Alina, you are welcome back literally any day you want, anytime you want. I'm happy to have you. I'd love to keep this conversation going. So if you're free
Woohoo!
next week, please join me then. And same with
Thank
you, Yoni.
you. Thank you very much.
Oh, Yoni says that she has an Android. Maybe that's why she
That's
has.
why. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Int-
sense. I thought about that. I wondered. I was like,
Is that
maybe.
worth switching for, you think,
I have no
Alina?
idea. I haven't had an Android like in a really long time.
I
I've had an
know.
iPhone for a while,
Me too. And I like my iPhone a lot. Like, would I really give it up for a snap emoji?
but they do have
Maybe.
some cool emojis. I've
I
seen other
know.
ones
I
too.
know. Now I kind of wonder what else they have that we don't have, you know?
Lots of stuff. A better camera, I could tell you that. 100%.
Yeah.
Seriously, everyone always says the iPhone camera is really not that great.
Yoni also says there's a newt emoji and she just put it up.
That's
Do we
cute.
not have a lizard at all? Are we
I
that?
don't
Hold on. Now I want to check real quick. I know this is
know.
important enough to keep this live stream going for, just to check on this. A lizard. We do have a lizard. We do have a lizard. It looks like that.
Oh, and see that one looks really similar. I
Yeah, it's like a little
wonder.
gecko or something. Okay.
Yeah, cute.
So I guess I don't have to change after all. That's good. All right.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. This was fun. I'll maybe see you next week.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.